Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. We are super excited today to have Brad Baskin. He is the owner of Brad Baskin Photography and an expert in corporate, commercial, and industrial photography. As a 30-year veteran in the industry, Brad has a way of capturing the emotion and the essence of his subjects and what he's shooting. So, Brad, I want to welcome you to the call.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, let's just jump right into it and tell me a little bit about the types of businesses and the clients you help and who you work with.
I work with all kinds of businesses, industrial, worked with interior designers, shooting architectural photos. Frequently, I'm in law firms photographing corporate executives and have their best foot forward on their website. So I go into their environment and look at the location and see what's the best place to show them. Sometimes it's showing a cityscape behind them, or in front of a piece of artwork, or showing they have an attract the office behind them. And our job is to really capture that commitment, that passion they bring to their job, and have it show up on them, in them, and so we can portray it on the website.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. And I've looked at a lot of the photographs you've taken, your website, your materials, and your portfolio, and I got to tell you, they're amazing. You really do capture it. What's your secret? How do you capture that moment, that essence of whether it's that CEO or the environment that they're shooting it in, or a corporate team? How do you grab that?
Our work is a lot of our life, a lot of our day. I'm usually photographing professionals, people who've gone to law school, or sometimes it's doctors, gone to medical school, and people who really are committed to being professional at what they do. And sometimes I'll ask them what it is that brought them into the law, or sometimes I photograph the head of an insurance company. What is it that, how they got started? And they begin talking about that, and their passion begins to show up on their face. And then kind of drawing from my years of experience photographing people and knowing what's the best angle. Sometimes it's just simply a slight movement of the head. Sometimes it's just how they stand or sit. And they also during the process, tethered to a laptop, and we can edit as we go along, and they can see, that's a great picture of me, and that helps a lot too. You can actually see that they're pulling it off, and they're doing a good job. And I might say, I like that look. That's really interesting. I'm going to pose you in a similar fashion to that shot, and let's take a few more. I'm kind of obsessive about getting the best photo I can. Really, when people hire a photographer, I think they think it's, he has this equipment and this fancy camera and this softbox, and that's kind of what you're hiring. But really, you're hiring their experience to see what is the best way to photograph this person. What's the most appealing way? What's the most appealing angle? And you just know after doing it for a while. And then for me, what's next is having them emerge and as a person, their commitment, their pride in their work, what they bring to the party, so to speak, in their profession.
That's awesome. You definitely have an eye for it, and I commend you for it, because I think it takes a special talent and a special perspective to do that. That's fantastic. So tell me, what led you into this field? What got you started into photography in your business?
Certain faces are just very compelling, and one of my favorite first photographs is of my grandfather, Al Baskin. I took when I was like 13 or 14. I'm one of these photographers that had a dark room. Since I was 13, my father built it for me in the basement, and started shooting people right away. My grandfather had a clothing business in Joliet, where I grew up, called Al Baskin's, and my father, Shale Baskin, at a fairly young age, took over the business and then expanded it to the suburbs. First Mark Shale was what the name of the business was. My uncle's name was Mark. My father's name was Shale, and my dad, created this business. And so the first Mark Shale was in Woodfield in the 70s when I was in college. And
I remember that. I actually purchased clothing from them.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. My dad took me over. I think there was one in Northbrook Court as well, and he took us over there. And I think I got one of my first real professional suits from there.
That was right. I think that was the late 70s, maybe early 80s at the Woodfield, the one at Northbrook Court. It's hard to believe that was cornfields before that was built. And the store's edge was, my father would say, if people are happy, that the clothes really aren't what's important. It's at matching the clothes of the person and the compliments they get. When they get compliments, then they'll come back to the store. And so that kind of personal relationship is how he built the business. And did very little advertising, unfortunately for his photographer son, but we started doing more. I took pictures. We hire models, and I would take pictures that would be in the Ravinia Guide and the Symphony program. Once in a while in Chicago Magazine. We would advertise a bit more when we opened stores, particularly in other cities. One was opened two in Dallas eventually, one in Kansas City, one in Atlanta. And we would, go on location, and we'd shoot the models sometimes on Wacker Avenue or all about Michigan Avenue, all about the city. Chicago became a backdrop for my Mark Shale ads. And this was in the late 70s and into the 80s and 90s. And so that's how I got started shooting professionally. I was a theater major in school, as well as a photography major. I love being around actors. They're very much adventurers in life, explorers in life, and they're very passionate about having, a wonderful picture about themselves, because for them it's very important. And so when I remember the young people would come into my studio, and I'd probably photograph 2 a week for 25 years, and they would say, well, how much time are you going to spend with me? In those days, how much film are you going to shoot? And I would tell them, relax, we'll shoot as much as we need to. And the name of the game there is to just conjure up this kind of magical, compelling image of this person that's going to draw a director or a casting director into, trying them out for a part. And I did that for, a long time. And it was a wonderful time to do this in my studio. I had a studio on the west side, a loft at 850 North Milwaukee. And we would shoot their pictures there. I probably photographed 1,000 actors. I think 2 of them, made it to the big screen. One was this Jamie Denton, who was in Desperate Housewives. He was, 28 when I met him. And the agents were really hot on him, you could tell. A very handsome guy. And he had this quality about him. There's something about him, like he was the captain of the high school basketball team. He was the quarterback in college. He had this quality. You wanted to know this guy. And Steve Carell was another one. He was working at Second City then. He was just about to go to Las Vegas with their troupe at that time, and he was a totally sweet guy, like he often is cast in this part. He's from a little town in Iowa, also about 28, 29, and he was looking at his life at that time, and he said, well, I'm going to give it another 5 years, and we'll see what happens, and I'll just do something else if this doesn't work out. And that's how he was at that time in his life. And then I saw him about 10 or 15 years later in the 40-Year-Old Virgin. And I go, I know this face. I've seen this guy. Then I remembered who he was. Go.
That's an incredible history there. It sounds like photography runs in your family blood there. That's wonderful, and the impact that you made for all those young actors and all those professionals and models and things as you were building up your career. That's fantastic. So, Brad, tell us, what's one of the biggest misconceptions businesses have or CEOs have about corporate photography and what that really can mean to a company?
I think it's the approach. I would advise someone who's looking at doing that is to talk to a designer, to talk to someone who's going to do more than just a template website, and really importantly, to think, what is it you want to say about the company? To have a writer and work with a writer and decide what it is that you want to say about the company, and then hire the photographer who can work with this writer or work with the designer or both, and look at what is it you want to say about the company, and what images will put the best foot forward on the website, because it's the images that draw people into reading about the company and how this company separates itself. The other companies doing similar work, or what they want to tell people about their service. I think some companies approach it as, we have to do this. We just can't have a blank face there. We can't have. There has to be we have to do this. We have to get through it and call someone and have them come in, and do it as quick as possible. I think they should give it some thought as to how they can, in the best light, show what service they provide and who they want to photograph, and what's the best manner to take their picture.
So the solution, it's really about planning. It's about planning and really intentionally saying, we want to convey this message. We want to convey this emotion, this connection to our audience. And then once they understand that, then bringing someone, a professional like yourself, who understands that, then you go in there and you capture it as what it is that they're trying to, the story they're trying to tell. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I agree. And if someone, it's, I often say to people, the ideal thing for a photographer is, I happen to be photographing the president of Boeing, and I have, their 200 working behind him on a 787. I mean, that would be ideal in terms of a visual aid. But for the most part, we don't work in situations like that. We go to work in our office, and so it's often using the architecture of the office and have them stand kind of out from that is what we're using as a visual aid. Sometimes it might be in a conference room setup, so you can set up a conference room shot and then kind of activate people, which is sometimes have them talking, have them in an angle where it's more a sense of they're at work. I was in the Alberta Culver factory, and we photographed a number of people on the line with the bottles going by them. Photographed someone in a steel factory. They made rolls of steel, and we were able to show, with different lighting, gels over the lighting. We were able to dramatically show the steel behind them. We spent 2 days photographing these attorneys, and we were able to, with that time, I shot each attorney twice. A great way to shoot people in Chicago is if they're in the loop, shoot them and they have the window behind them and show a cityscape and give it a kind of midtown Manhattan look, to use that advantage. Or it can be in the hallways. It helps show the sense of professionalism in what they do.
Right. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you on that. What would be the first thing if one of our listeners was ready to capture their story, capture their message on, for their website, for their, whatever it's print material, whatever, their message out there with images? What's the first thing they should do?
I would say the first thing is to work with a designer and decide how the website is in general is going to look. If they've already done that, or they may already have a website, is to contact me. For example, I prefer to come to the location and scout it out and talk with the owners, or who's ever in charge of getting these images taken, and look at the location. I'll make suggestions about where we might shoot certain people. And often during the conversation, things come up. They say, maybe we should do a group shot of the partners, or maybe we should shoot, this one executive, just outside the office, or maybe we should use, this view outside, showing the city, or maybe we want to do a walking in the city shot, or things just come out in our conversation. I don't have to charge, to come to a location and talk about it. That'd be where I would start. Is my coming to the location, the office, the plant, whatever it is, and seeing what's there visually and discussing kind of the game plan. What is it you want to capture, and discuss how long I think it will take.
Brilliant. So what's the best way for them to learn more about you and to contact you?
My website, bradbaskin.com. My email is photos@bradbaskin.com. My phone number is 312-733-2192.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Brad, for being on our show today. You've shared lots of golden nuggets, lots of insights that I think really give business owners and CEOs, executives, a real inside look and perspective on how to capture that moment and how to capture their story and their message and their essence into a visual format. So I appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Awesome. Well, you have a great day. And well, there you have it, folks, for another edition here. We're glad you were able to tune in next time to the Inside Track.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.